for the introduction here. My name is Bryan Nooner. I'm the president of Midwest Innovative Products, home of Twist and Seal. And Kathy, thank you for inviting me here today. Kathy asked me to come here today to share my story on how we took a product that we showed here in the Inventors Hall in 2012 and how we took that product, got it to market, and now at the end of this year we will have sold over 5 million pieces. So thank you, Kathy. We'll be sharing the inventive journey on that. So not just sharing our experiences, but also talking a little bit about what you have to do in business to get that product to that point. Also like to thank Liz Kenny. Liz Kenny this year, she had helped me navigate a lot of the ins and outs of the show this year, a lot of new things, so thank you, Liz. Also a quick disclaimer here. Nobody at the show with Reed Expo, United Inventors Association, or the National Hardware Show has paid me to come up here and just discuss anything. And the reason I want to give you that disclaimer is because you're going to hear me give the National Hardware Show a lot of accolades. I just want to make sure you know I'm not paid to say these things. And with that, finally, Cindy DiNatale has been our account exec. Cindy has been an invaluable resource for me, and over the years I've asked so many questions, but Cindy has really helped guide me through the National Hardware Show. So thank you, Cindy. So the inventive journey. Unless you are decided to license or sell your product, you're probably going to, on top of the creating a product, you're probably going to have to start up a business. So that's the standpoint, the viewpoint, the perspective that I'm going to talk about today. Not just the inventive process, but also getting started and getting that business started. Because again, unless you're going to license or sell that product, you're going to have to most likely start up a business. Author Robert Kiyosaki said, if you want to go somewhere, it is best to find somebody who's already been there. I know I found that in my personal life to be true, also in business, and that's why you're here today, because you believe that also. So what is Twist and Seal? Real quick, I'll give you a quick review what Twist and Seal is. Twist and Seal is a family of products today that keeps water away from electrical cord connections of all types, sizes, and shapes. There's 4 products, and we'll talk about them throughout the process today. So from holiday lights to regular cords, large cords, and multiple cord connections, keeping water away from those cord connections is what Twist and Seal is all about. How did it get started? Let me paint a quick little picture for you. It's a rainy night, mid-December. We're getting ready for a holiday party. And you know how Chicago is. It's rainy. We've never in mid-December really get all that snow anymore, so very wet. And for the past 2 holiday seasons, our lights, outdoor holiday lights, have gone out right before a party. So my wife is very particular. She likes her house all lit up. And last year, water got in between the connections and popped the GFI, and out go all the lights, and not a pretty thing. The holiday parties at our house, she comes from a family of 11. There's like 58 grandchildren, so it's a big thing. So there's 75 to 100 people at our holiday party. So she comes up with really creative ideas, right? She's not only going to tape them, she's putting water bottles on them. She's doing all kinds of stuff. So these are actually taken at our house. This is what we were doing. So my wife sees our house like this. All of a sudden, about 15 minutes before people are starting to come, the lights go out. So it's the tape. So she says, honey, can't you do something about this? We go out there, we're rewrapping them. And, my wife, she really likes Christmas, okay? So she doesn't see our house like this anymore. She sees it really more like this, okay? It's not just, a pretty house anymore, and she thinks people are going to see it. So she becomes the not so loving wife anymore, right? She's not, now it's Christmas. So she goes from this to more like this. Okay, now my wife, she is not a screamer, but I'm going to tell you something. She's not happy that the lights went out, okay? So, but I'm not really listening because she says, honey, can't you do something about this? All of a sudden, I'm inspired to do something. So I'm hearing blah, 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 while the gears are going off in my head. And I'm really tinkering at this. So this is like, I'm really thinking about how to solve this problem. And like literally, I'm going in the office right then and there and start tinkering. So I'm really thinking, right? And guys, you know how, your significant other one, they're talking, we kind of zone out. And I'm taking this as a real positive. She keeps talking, I'm thinking it's a positive, I'm lost in the thought. Well, I'm thinking this is a very positive thing. So it's kind of like this. So that's how I felt. I felt as though, she's over there, she's all upset, and I'm saying, I'm inspired now at this point. So what Mary Beth actually said that night and did actually was the inspiration to start these products, which we started out in 2012 right here in the Inventors Hall. We had one product, we had a provisional patent. Today, at the end of this year, we have sold 5 million of these. We have 18 patents with numerous provisional patents, and we're in 4 different countries. So this is a great location for you to start out. Our first product, in fact, I think I have one right here, if I can see that. Started out like this. The reason I'm showing you this is because I want to show you that a lot of people ask, how did twist and seal come about? You put a cord in here, you take this, you twist it, and through some radial compression, that foam goes right around that cord. That's where the name twist and seal came from. However, with that, there were some difficulties. It was a little cumbersome. And it just didn't quite work out right, but there were some really good positives about it, and a lot of things we learned. So how did we get out to the hardware show? Asked a few questions, talked to some retailers, some hardware people, and they said the best place to go is Las Vegas National Hardware Show. So I did not trust anything to anybody at that time, so we loaded up the Suburban, and I kind of gave it away here a little bit, but we felt like the Beverly Hillbillies driving out here with everything packed up into the Suburban, all jammed up. And we definitely came out here all wide-eyed, not really sure what to expect. The one thing I know we wanted was feedback. I wanted good, solid feedback because I felt as though we had something, but I only had a hypothesis. Do we really have something? I wanted a peer review. I wanted buyers from retailers to see it and really get that feedback. Customer feedback. Keep this in mind. Customer feedback for any business looking to provide users with products they need guides and informs the decision-making process and influences your product roadmap. So getting customer feedback is absolutely critical. So we came here, this was our first booth here in the Inventors Hall. They changed the carpet a little bit. But we got here 3 days early. We planned for the worst, hoped for the best. Cindy DiNatale, she convinced me, even though we didn't have it in the budget, to get involved with the Inventor Spotlight area, the awards program. That's us circled there. We were in the corner. We came in with a rain tank, got up in there in awards. I was up at the booth on the second day, and lo and behold, they come up to me and they say, "You've won an award, you got to get down to the stage." So it's my son there on the right-hand side. So we went up there. In 2012, totally to our surprise, we won the Most Innovative Product of the Year award. I get back up to the booth in here. I had buyers from Walmart and Sears and Ace Hardware here already waiting for me to discuss how they could get a hold of that product. Later on that year, a few months later, about a month and a half later, I had Home Depot of Mexico and a distributor of Canada. They bought some products for ours, about 30,000 pieces. They were what author Steve Blank calls early evangelists. Early evangelists are those that take a leap of faith in your product because they have a personal tie to it. They believe in that product. You need to find your early evangelists. You need to find out who your early evangelists are, sell them, and pay a lot of attention to them because they give you invaluable feedback. So that feedback I mentioned before, you have your product. How do you know? Because right now all you have is a hypothesis. Now you need to get that customer feedback to determine what's going on. So customers that take early evangelists are those customers that take a leap of faith early in your product's life cycle. They identify on a personal level with the problems your products. And early evangelists, this is really important, they shout your praises like at the mountaintop. Why? Because they have a personal connection with it. They're also spending a lot of time some political capital at their retailer. Okay? They're bringing a product in, they want that product to sell. So guess what? They don't want it to fail. They're telling everybody they can about it. So early evangelists, find those people that early in the life cycle of your product, they want to buy it and they start talking about it. So they will shout your praises. Invaluable feedback, because without that feedback, your product is probably not going to go anywhere. So find your early evangelists. Ours was Home Depot in Mexico and a distributor in Canada. And from that, we started getting people talking about it. Greg Burden says it best. He's an author and businessman. A person can have the greatest idea in the world, completely different and novel, but if that person can't convince enough other people, then it just doesn't matter. Early in my business life in the early 80s, I had the fortune of spending a lot of time with an ad agency, owner of an ad agency, Lyle Brooks. He told me one time, and it really clicked with me from way back then, you could be giving $100 bills away, but if you don't tell anybody about it, you won't give one away. So make sure you get people to know about your product. So we sold some pieces, right, that first year. So right away, we get 30,000 pieces sold. We think that's unbelievable, very happy. However, in almost the same breath, we're not happy because all we had was a prototype. We didn't have any packaging. We were underfunded, probably a lot like you guys are, right? How are you going to do this? Now you got this product, you got these orders. Now, what's going to happen? So we built a really good team of people that were as passionate about this product as I was. We got graphic artists, we have engineers, we have injection mold companies, just all pulling on the same rope. They all want to help out. One night, I'm talking on the phone, my engineer calls me about 11 o'clock at night. We talk for a little bit about what we're doing. Then my graphic artist calls me about 11:30 at night. My wife looks over at me and goes, how do you find people like you that work just like all the time? Because we built a team in which together everybody achieves more, but they're all passionate. They are all passionate about what we're doing. So I went out to the injection mold company, spent nights in the hotel. I was polishing up these molds myself. We shipped out the product out to Mexico and out to Canada. However, I needed more feedback. And Canada and Mexico were just too far. So I took our products and I actually gave them to some hardware retailers in our area. I said, you take them, you sell them. I don't want any money for it, but all I want is don't have me arrested when I'm walking around spying on the products. I want to see how those people are interacting with it. So I had a couple retailers take me up on it, and I literally took hours and hours just spying on the customers around our product. How did they look at it? Did they touch it? Did they feel it? How were they attracted to it? So you have to get that feedback. So one of the customers, there was a lady pulling up in pushing a cart. She stops, she looks, looks at the header card, she looks at the product, she picks it up, and she stops her husband. I forget his name, George, whatever. Hey, come over here. I didn't know we needed this. Think about that for a minute. I didn't even know we needed this. Well, first of all, this is not an intuitive brand. You don't know what it is unless you see in-use images. Remember, I was new to this. Not one product that I ever invented before or put into retail. So what I learned right then and there was I need excellent graphics, in-use graphics that explain exactly at a glance what this product does. And I then took that feedback and we started retooling everything we were doing. Then our sales started going. But how did we get to that? Customer feedback. The other thing, here's a rule. You got to get out of the office. The true facts about your customer and about what's going to go on is really out at the stores. It's out meeting with the retailer, the retail buyer for Home Depot, for Lowe's, for Ace Hardware. It's also talking to your customers. You're not going to get that in the office. So get out of the office because there are no true facts in your office. You have a hypothesis that you think your product is going to work. Don't get so full of yourself. Go get some feedback from the customers out there. So learn what your customers do and do not like about your products. This product right here, what I learned really quickly is that I thought it was a great product. It has too many latches. It's too cumbersome. So it was hard to open sometimes, as I'm having here. Also, the foam inside looks like a dolphin. So, there's all kinds of things, that feedback we learned. So what I had to do, though, I learned very quickly we had to change. Otherwise, we were not going to get to the sales level that I wanted. So look for patterns of criticism. So don't take criticism as a negative, take it as a positive, because without it, you can't you can't improve your products. So look for those patterns of criticism. When those patterns emerge, what do you do next? What do you do next? You change. You change your plan. You think you know where you're going. You probably will not be, if you're going to continue to change your product and listen to your customers, you probably will not be where you are today in a year from now. You need to make sure you understand, get rid of your ego, be willing to change. We call it pivoting. So pivot. Pivot is a change in strategy without a change in vision. My vision was to have a group of products that we could sell basically all over the world that would protect electrical cord connections from water getting in between them. This wasn't going to do it, but listening to the customers gave me information. So Eric Ries says, a pivot is a change in strategy without a change in vision.
I was groping around for a way to describe a phenomenon that I kept seeing in the startups I was working with. So I wrote a blog post. I mean, the blog post, it wasn't like coining the term pivot, it just said, pivot, don't jump to a new vision. Now I'm good at encapsulating it crisply. A pivot is a change in strategy without a change in vision. Here's the critical thing you got to understand about the pivot. It's really very simple. You get in your car, you don't boot up your GPS and say, GPS, where do I want to go? It doesn't know, it's just a robot. It helps you get where you want to go. So the vision is the destination you have in mind. But if you run into an obstacle, you don't just drive your car into the obstacle over and over again in the hopes that it will be fine. You, with the help of your GPS, find a way around. Okay, very simple. Startups that succeed all do that really well. They start out with an idea that sounds good, but turns out to be terrible. YouTube started out as a dating site, and they only after people were starting to upload all kinds of video did they make the pivot to a video site. But most of us, let's be honest, we would not have known. 20 free pizzas, whatever. The reason the Groupon founders understood the power of selling 20 free pizzas is that they had failed for a year to get anybody to buy anything at all. That actually made them excited enough to try the next experiment and the next and the next and the next. That's what a pivot is. It is redeeming the failure because we learned so much about what's possible. That's the name of the game. That's what this is about.
Name of the game is to pivot. So get your ego out of the way, get out of the office, take the time to understand what your customers are saying about your product, and then make that pivot. And you need to make it quickly. because you need to iterate quickly. You need to make those changes quickly. That team I told you that we put together that was passionate about these products, we worked day and night. So as there's a new change on a new product idea, the graphic artists would get involved, the engineers would get involved, the machinists would get involved. Everybody would get involved very, very quickly. And so we would turn those ideas from passion that we had for our products, we would turn those ideas into new products. And as you'll see in just a moment. But back to passion here for just a moment. If you don't have a passionate team and you don't have a passionate owner or inventor of that product, it's probably not going to go anywhere because you have something new. And unless you can convince somebody, get your early evangelist going, you're not going to probably go anywhere. So passion is ground zero. And without it, you're dead on arrival. Also, keep in mind that true passion attracts. So if you have passion about what you're doing, you will attract that team. They will want to be part of what you're doing. Steve Blank, he's an author, entrepreneur, has done a lot. He's the author of a great book called How to Start. It's a startup book manual. And he says that most people are great at execution. Startup people, though, are different. They just think differently because their brains are wired for chaos and uncertainty and blinding speed and iterations. So do you have that mind? Do you have that mentality? Or do you have somebody around you that has that? So because startups have a lot of uncertainty in them. Their job is never 9 to 5. He says it's whatever it takes. I found this manual, this book, about 12 months ago, much after I've gone through everything, but I found it because I wanted to confirm some of the things that I have been seeing and experiencing and wanting to share it with people. So I went out there and did some research and found Steve Blank's book. It's an awesome book. I would recommend it. So find your passion, build your team, and get it done. So 2013, we iterated, right? 1 year, we had this. The second year we came back, we now had 2 new products, a Cord Dome and the Mini. How did we get those? Because we listened to the customer with our feedback. And then we got out of the office and listened how people interacted with our product. So in 2013, we pivoted, developed these 2 new products. In the first year, we sold 200,000. Remember, we had 30,000 here, and it wasn't really going anywhere. We iterated, we pivoted. The second year, we had these out. The Mini is 400,000. Last year, we sold 600,000 of them. So by listening to your customers' needs, by changing those in-use graphics, by doing all the things that we were hearing, the sales started really getting up there. So that year in 2013, we did another, Cindy convinced me once again to enter the Spotlight Awards, and we did it again. We came away with the most innovative product of the year with the Cord Dome. So 2 years in a row. We also that year, we were the top pick of the National Hardware Show. So we started getting a lot of recognition now. So now in 2012 and 2013, we've won 2 Most Innovative Product of the Year awards and the Best of Show. And again, we're still driving out our stuff because I don't trust anything with the shipping. I got to make sure it's here. But one thing I learned is once you have a proven product that's beginning to sell, you need to get people talking about it. You need to start spending money. It's time to start spending money on your salespeople, start spending money on your public relations, on everything you can. That's the time to start spending money. A quick story. You never know who's watching you. My first year here, I met a manufacturer's rep. I would say he's one of the top in the country. He briefly introduced himself. We had a brief talk. Never followed up with me. Came back the second year, saw I had a couple more products. He said, let's get together and talk. We got together and talked. He goes, most people don't make it to second year, and I really wanted to see what you were going to do. And he has just, him and his partner have just done an excellent job with us. They're really good friends of mine now. And it all came from being there, being present here, and changing their products, iterating them, and listening to, because we listen to customer feedback. So getting back to sales, once things start selling, that's the time to start spending money. If you're holding back, then you're holding back your product. So get your production ready, get your packaging ready, get everything you can. Real quick, I won't talk too much on this, but financing is really key, and everybody's financial abilities are different. So cash is the lifeblood of any organization, and it cannot exist without it. So you need to figure out early and often where that funding is coming from. Will it come from being self-funded? I did that for a while, kind of drained out the retirement funds and other things like that. Got involved in some partnerships. I went through some venture capitalists, went through some private equity, and at some point, you're going to hopefully be self-sustaining. So figure out that financing, because without it, you can't go anywhere. So in 2014, we introduced another 2 products. How did we introduce those products? Why did we introduce those products? How did we know how to introduce those products? Because we got out of the office, we listened to customers, we iterated quickly, and went back out and tested those hypotheses over and over and over, all within 1 year. So now we have 2 new products, the Cord Protect and the Max. One is for regular homeowner cords, and one is for the construction industry. Why? Because the ones that we had wasn't good enough for the construction guys. It wasn't hardy enough. I'm going to tell you what we have now, the Max. We test this thing everywhere. NASA buys this from us. The military buys this from us. We just sent out a shipment last week to the Norwegian Armed Forces. This thing is like indestructible. So we made this thing tough for the construction industry. This is nothing I would have thought to initially do, but because we listened to our customers, that's what happened. So 2014, we came out to the National Hardware Show. We put these products in an awards program again. This time in the lawn and garden section, which is the largest section here at the hardware show. We won the gold award with the Mini. It just kind of blew my mind. And the other thing is, there was only 3 awards given at that ceremony. We won 2 of them. So the Core Dome won the honorable mention. We won the gold, the first place. We won the 3rd place, the honorable mention. And then we also put some of our packaging that we thought was really unique, with some great in-use graphics, etc. We also won the Gold Merchandising Award. So from 2012 to 2014, 2-time Most Innovative Product of the Year, Top Pick of the Show, 2 Lawn and Garden Innovation Awards, and the NRHA Packaging Award. These awards gave us third-party recognition that we still, to this day, are riding the coattails of. So the things I found true about the National Hardware Show is this. It provides small companies and inventors a level playing field in order to compete with larger companies. I was there right alongside Scott's, Gorilla Glue, and I can't tell you, just numerous other products. I'm a guy that's just starting out. My products won over theirs, and it was judged by a panel of our peers, of buying peers, of buyers from Ace Hardware, and at the time Sears and other places. Also, if you have an innovative product that is presented in a simple, effective way, it will get noticed here. The National Hardware Show provides a concentrated opportunity to meet with retail buyers from all over the world. You have buyers here from Australia and Germany and Italy, and all over the US and Canada and Mexico and Chile. We're in Chile, we're in Mexico, we're in Canada and the US, and working on deals in Europe. Every single one of those contacts in one way or the other came from this show. 99% of all of our business that we have today came from the show. So real quickly, our Twisted Seal sales progression in 2012, we had 2 retailers sold 30,000 pieces. Today, we're in 15,000 retail locations, 4 countries, and at the end of this year, we've sold 5 million pieces. Our product progression in 2012 started out with 1 product, 1 provisional patent. Today, we have 4 commercially accepted products, and we have 18 patents with numerous continuation of patents in process. So what is the number one thing you can do to get your products noticed? I would say congratulations, you've done it. It's right here at the National Hardware Show. Okay, this is the place to get your products noticed. Put a lot of effort into it, talk to everybody, don't leave your booths early, plant yourself there, stay there, because if you show up, that's 90% of the battle. If you leave your booth, you miss one opportunity, it could affect your life. Summary of important steps. This is starting with the idea that you already have a product. Remember that your product is a hypothesis. It's not been proven yet. Be your own spy, get out, find out, get some feedback to test your hypothesis. Talk to the customers. Get out of the office. Truth is what you see and hear from your customers, not what you're seeing on paper. Iterate your products quickly. When you finally make that decision that we got to change, don't waste time. Get it done. Pivot is okay. Don't get your ego in the way. Don't think, well, man, this is my plan and this is what I'm going to do. Pivot is okay. Change your plan, though, based on results. Don't change it. Maybe sometimes you have to think about that, but change it on results. Don't just change it because I feel as though I need to change something. Be passionate, and your passionate team will follow. Find and nurture your early evangelists. Remember, your early evangelists are those that believe in your product early. They will shout they're vested, so they will shout your praises all over the place. Tell everybody about your product as soon as you can, as soon as you get something that's sellable. PR, social media, sales reps, get people talking about your product. Be ahead of your financing needs. You get that big order, how are you going to get in our case, it was molds. We had to get our molds made. They were each $250,000. How are you going to get your packaging made? How are you going to warehouse it? How are you going to fulfill it? How are you going to put it all together? So once you have a proven product, spend like a drunken sailor. Spend. As long as you're getting a return on that and it's resulting in sales, you need to spend on your sales program. So, the inventive journey. What do you need? Not everybody has the skill set, the finances, the time to do this. So, how do you move forward? So if you are considering wanting to license your product, you want to sell your product, you want somebody to maybe look at your product and just give you some ideas on maybe some next steps. I have a team of people here, our finance people we have here, we have some manufacturer reps. If you just want to talk to them and kind of meet and discuss maybe some next steps, get some ideas, or if you have some ideas on licensing them or anything else, we have some people here you can talk to. Not exactly right now, but we can get out of here and talk sometime during the show the next couple of days. So with that, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to come here out of the show and spend a little time to listen to me share my experiences with you about the National Hardware Show.